So we are live, everybody. So welcome to another market update, right? And interestingly, we have Jen's fellow right here on today's show, and we have no other person but Dr. Crypto by the extreme right, and in the middle we have Abimbola. But without further ado, for those who likely are getting to know you guys for the first time, which I hope not, but there are some persons who may get to be seen or signed. You know, I will allow you to introduce yourself briefly, and then we ready for the show. So, Dr. Crypto, over to you with introduction.
Okay. Um,
Oh yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. I am more blessing, right? I'm known online as Dr. Crypto, so the CMO at Next Trade, and it's always a pleasure to be on this show because you get to learn, get to interact, you get to share, and go home with a good projection of the market. You know what you are doing, so it's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. All right. And next right here is Bimbola. Let's hear from you.
Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here again. My name is Jenny Ayobami Abimbola. I Let me say Abimbola at people in the general let me put that way. So I am a trader, and I'm gradually transitioning from being a manual trader to being an algorithm trader. So yeah, nice to be here.
All right. I know the two persons on the show kind of I give you all the resume. That's fine. That's fine anyway. And I'm no other person but Mr. Gilbert Bata, which you should know. I'm a crypto research and also an educator. Also, a futures trader and also a long-term investor. But on today's show, we have something very interesting we want to talk about. October, will Bitcoin continually go up? And also the shutdown. It doesn't appear to be stopping Bitcoin. How high can we go? All the question and many more we'll be discussing on today's show. But without further ado, something happened just when we go live, and that was Bitcoin crossing the $109,000 mark. We went to as much as about 119,000 or thereabout. What do you guys think about this? This is quite an impressive performance.
Yeah, I think the market is moving
What's your take,
as expected.
guys?
So the month is branded as October, isn't it? October. So
Yes, it
it's more
is.
like everybody's expecting it to go up right now. And when you have a situation whereby a lot of traders across the world are expecting a specific outcome in the market, so
Mm.
most likely it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because we're expecting it. I'm expecting it, and everyone else is expecting it. So we are all moving, in a similar direction. So it's normal that you have a movement like this in the first 2 days of October. So
Yeah, Dr. Crypto, what about you? But talking about having this in the first week of October, historically, Bitcoin had always performed, well during the end of the summer, and also October is always a good time for crypto, and that's why we always use the word October. But last year, when the year began, instead of us to have more of an upside initially, what we had was kind of a downside. And I had somebody, I saw some people using some tag down stand, but this time around, the upside is up just in the beginning. Historically, yes, we do well October, but October is just in and the upside is continuing. So what changed? What really changed for this year?
Okay. For me, I'll say what really changed is that the current U.S. Government partial lockdown, right? It
Mm,
exposes an inadequacies in the traditional financial market. And
yeah.
of course, it is always Bitcoin, crypto, seen as the a safe haven whenever the financial market is crashing, the traditional financial market is crashing. So this shutdown happening towards October that is sentimentally bullish already. So it exposes that inadequacies that is in the traditional market, and that just fuel the already existing buyers of October. Yeah.
You know, you know, it's quite a question because almost like saying, why is Bitcoin going, despite the macro chaos which is happening and the government shutting down? But then, this is it. People used to say the U.S. government is going to shut down Bitcoin. The U.S. government is going to shut down Bitcoin. But as we talk right now, while we're on this conversation, the U.S. government is down, but Bitcoin is up. So but it still brings me to that question: is what does the U.S. government shutdown means for crypto? What does it mean for crypto? Probably we're expecting, some other scenario, but look at what this shutdown means for crypto. We could short term what this means. We could also look at the long, mid term. Also look at the so let's look at short term, mid term, long term. Overall, what does this means for investors? In an environment like this. Meanwhile, if you're watching us live, keep it interactive section. If you're watching us live, type live. If you're watching the replay, type replay. Also, feel free to share this video with friends, share this video with your family. Right here is captains to the cryptocurrency market. The founder of next trend is here when it comes to the futures market. The guys. We have Abimbola, who is also a trader and educator, transitioning heavily into algo trading. These are experienced folks. These are people with the knowledge that you need. So this is a session that you will have a lot of value from. So do well, share this link with someone. Then don't forget, if you're watching us live, to the comment section and type live. If you're watching the replay, type replay. We have a message here from Mr. Ike. Mr. Ike say good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, good afternoon, and Mr. Ike is watching us live. Mr. Ike as well is watching us live. So without further ado, that's the question. So we used to say someday the U.S. government is going to shut down Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is up. The U.S. government has been shut down. But then, meanwhile, this shutdown, what does this mean for the market in the short term, in the mid term, long term, and what should investors be doing? Yeah, it's a free mic. It's a free
Okay.
mic, my
Am I
friends.
going first?
Yeah, it's a free mic.
Okay, right.
It's an open.
Yeah, go ahead and for crypto guy, please.
Okay, all right. In the short term, I think it poses a risk, a bearish. I lean towards the bearish sentiment, but it's not looking like it anymore because uh, Bitcoin still moves with risky assets. It's still classified as a risky asset.
Mm.
So, an instability in the U.S. government, right? It affects this risky asset class. So in the short term, it is I lean towards the bearish sentiment, right? But when you look at it in the long term, right, Bitcoin has always been, or the message we pass about crypto, about this, about crypto, right, Bitcoin has been more of a
Yeah.
decentralization against, which is against the traditional system. Now, if the US government is showing instability, right, it is an inefficiency of the traditional system that we are seeing. So in the long term, if this part is having this instability, facing this chaos, of course, it should mean the opposite for something that stand against it. All right. So in the long term, it is bullish for crypto. Right? It is bullish for crypto because it is seen as the digital gold. It's seen as the opposite. We may see an initial maybe sell off or something, but the market is a bit playing out differently. But on the long term, it is bullish for crypto.
Yeah, I share similar sentiments with Dr. Crypto
Okay.
in the sense that let us first of all ask ourselves about what is government shutdown. When the government shut down in the US, what does it really mean? Like, let us try and enlighten the audience on this first. Now, when you say shut down in the US and government, it's probably when they have a dispute within the arms of the government and the maybe Congress, for instance. They have a dispute about what to spend and exactly want to pass the budget into law. So if another fiscal year is coming and there is no agreement on that budget, it means that they have no money to spend at that point in time. So it's not like they lack the money to power the government or they lack resources to power the government. But the money is there, but they've not agreed on what to do with it, and how to spend the money. So this is why they are having a temporary shutdown in the US government. And like you said, it's like Dr. Kito said, it expose a lot of inadequacy, within the government itself. And when you look at things like this, if you look at the way the US government is trying to position at the moment to crypto, trying to transfer a couple of debts, to the crypto users across the world, which some people consider as a very smart move for the US government to continue its financial hegemony over the world and dominate the world even once again for the next 2, 3 decades. So if you look at this, if you want to like if the government is positioning, whether through force or through whatever means to transfer their debt to crypto, they need to do everything possible to make sure that crypto is seen in a good light. So even this shutdown, it looks like it looks suspicious to me if you look at it critically. And the government will do everything within its power to make sure that October is sustained, and in the medium and long term, you have a very good run. So this is going to be a very interesting point in the market from now even throughout 2026. So in the medium term and long term, I believe that we are good to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
on that, your
just
bias
like
of okay.
no, you
Yeah, I just wanted
go
to
ahead. Go
add
ahead.
to
Keep
Yeah, I
conversation
just
on.
wanted to add to that is bias of being prolonged to next year, right? If you look at the business circle chart, right, where we have the contraction, the expansion, if you look at it very well, the projection we are having there is that the market has reset from these 2 years, 2 years up, 2 years down, 4 years circle, right? The market has reset, and resetting, it can prolong. We can have a run from now till quarter one of 2026 or Q2 2026. So yeah, I shared that with him too.
It's like you were thinking of for a while, or was that from me?
Okay, Mr. Bimbola, is it from me or from him? Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were talking about the market reset, and all of that.
Yes, Mr. Gilbert.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me, Mr. Bimbo? Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. So
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
okay, yes, yes. I was just talking about the short term, the mid term, and the long term projection. That I shared that long term projection with Mr. Abimbola that we could have a rally. We can have a rally from now, and it could extend to next year because from every indicator that is currently available with the Fed terminal business cycle, they all suggest that there is a reset in the market. And this reset gives room for growth from now till Q1 2026 or Q2 2026. Yeah.
And couple the fact
Glad
that
hearing this as well because
the United Kingdom, they run a copy and paste policy for cryptocurrency. So whatever US does for crypto, if it's bullish over there, just copy and paste it, and do some
A
light
lot of
testing.
Yeah, a lot of countries actually, a lot of countries are they are just I don't know why they everybody like to play catch up with US. So if you look at different countries now, they waited for US to take the initiative of national reserve on crypto assets, and then different countries are currently filing for it. I think the latest is this Spain or what country like that. They are just following the lead.
Yeah,
personally for me,
that's
these
true.
are my concerns. This is my concern as an African and also as a Nigerian because if you look at every revolution that have always taken place, it is always the countries that have led, and I'm talking about the economic revolution. It is always countries that led that always become leaders of. We've had where Belgium was leader of the world. We had when Dutch was leaders of the world. We had also the US. We had one of the advantage China too was when the GSM revolution came. Slow for countries like the US to change because their telephone system was working. China did not have a working telephone system and they took advantage of it. Once GSM went mainstream, they became leaders of the world. I personally expected our African leaders and also our Nigerian leaders to have forefronted the adoption of this asset class. And just like our former Vice President, Sibanjo, was talking about, that's that he made mention of. It should not be approached with fear because it's challenging even reserve banking and also traditional banking. And I don't know why we as African countries, we are not allowing, that the banking system is working, rather play cash up with us. We are very willing to play cash up with the US. And more than anything, as a country, as Nigeria, we have a Bitcoin reserve. It's time Nigeria has a Bitcoin reserve. We can't afford not to have a Bitcoin reserve now because Donald Trump is already talking about creating a Bitcoin reserve. Personally, that's for me. And this will happen. That's the next major move. Even though I understand that one of the little paranoia that the US is going to have is that once they start buying, there are some Bitcoiners, some maxis that have thousands of BTC, which will become the new owner of wealth. But that's the beauty of the crypto revolution. You ask me because this is the only revolution where the at the bottom of the pyramid. If gold is staying here, the government will come and mine it. Oil is found here, it belongs to the government. So government always come in, corporation comes in, and the people. But this is the first revolution where the people came in first. Corporation and government are
Okay,
trying to
let me
the
ask you this
cash.
question, Gilbert. Well, let
Okay.
me ask this question. Okay. If you have an intention
Mm.
of stealing from 100 people, okay, would you prefer that they have that money, that they put their resources together in Bitcoin when they can monitor what you're doing, across the country? Would you prefer that? Did you hear what I said?
No.
If the end game is to steal,
If, if
if
you
the end game
if you ask me,
steal for
no.
the masses, if the end game is to steal for the masses, okay, as a leader, would you allow the pressure, would you give to the pressure of creating a Bitcoin reserve for them in that country? Would you do that? When they could easily monitor your activity on the blockchain.
Oh, I see. I see. No, no, no. Because all of us will see what's happening in that economy, in that reserve. Oh no, it's for a smart thief. A smart thief is not going to choose Bitcoin. They'll prefer
No,
traditional finance, that's closed banking system.
exactly. Exactly.
I get and I get that
That's
perspective.
exactly.
But
Yes, I love that illustration. I love that illustration because
mm,
when you look at it, right, from history, at every rise and fall of any empire, right? You see that
Mm.
the empire came to power being the first mover in an innovation or a revolution, whether it is the industrial revolution, is in the when manpower was the ruling stuff then, and maybe
Yeah.
oversee and all those things. So every rise and fall of empire is determined by those first movers of those innovation, right? Of those revolution. So it is very obvious that the government, people that are in government, they should know these things and know that okay, this is the next revolution. And to win or become a superpower, you have to take the lead in this revolution. That is how you uh, establish your dominance, gain power, and then become maybe one of the superpowers. But they are not just doing it. So this illustration Mr. Abimbola just gave just says it all, right? Because they know that when they really adopt this revolution, they are giving their power away. You understand? They are giving the power they have over the masses away. They are giving the leverage they have over the masses away because of the centralization and every other thing that comes with it.
But then, does it not? So, two things. Does it not, first of all, concerns the government beyond the act? Because corruption is not an English word. Oh. Corruption na a Roman word. If we want to talk about corruption, we go say you be thief. Your papa na thief. And that's a word as African that is a stigma. You don't want it associated with you. For their family, then the thief. So corruption is an
Sorry.
English man stuff, which means they are corrupt. You know? But despite they are corrupt, they were able to build a dominant empire. So as Nigerians, we no wan build empire, we no wan build cooperation wey go gain global respect if dem dey do small small thief thief there, or Nigeria is Burna Boy, exposed, was a company. Nigeria originally was, and they're sticking to the game that Nigeria is just a company money to Europe. It's so crazy. But if that is the case, what about we as citizens? Because there's an office as citizens that we must sit on and also demand a level of accountability. Because the beauty of the system of government we are operating in Nigeria is the democracy. Just like with the blockchain, you understand? It's a democracy, not the kind of democracy we're practicing in Nigeria. There is direct democracy, but the kind of that democracy we use in Nigeria is a representational democracy. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a vote by large majority of persons that he should go represent us. Likewise, our governors. Likewise, people in our state house of assembly, federal house of assembly, and also Senate. So we are citizens. Are we really playing below and not the level of accountability from the government? Is it that we just very redundant and governance does not interest us? Because for me, the people in the place of government are just a representation of our overall way of thinking. So is this a representation of how we think overall as a country? I think there are two questions. The first question, they call leaders in our nations. Do they have no interest of, despite them learning what the Englishman taught them, which is corruption, they still build the nation? Second, we are not demanding accountability from the governance.
Well, when you look at
Yeah,
that,
it's an
the
open
problem
floor.
started from when you said, okay, the problem started from that concept of democracy that we practice. The kind of democracy we practice there gives so much power to the presidency. It gives like absolute power. And if you look at the kind of democracy we run here, Nigerian presidency is one of the most powerful presidents in the world, like so powerful.
Mm.
So um, it is difficult. It is difficult to for citizens, let me say key opinion leaders to rally together and say, okay, this is exactly what we want. Aside from the fact that you have the fragmented community in the crypto space in Nigeria, okay, that is obvious. So aside that, it is difficult to tell the government to do it because they are going to give you excuses like, okay, the IMF said we shouldn't do this, the IMF said we shouldn't do that because we have a lot of loans that we have taken from IMF, and when you take loans from people like that, okay, and you're indebted to them, they kind of dictate the terms and conditions of what you can do and what you cannot do because you are indebted to them. So if you look at it from that perspective, when you demand that, oh, we want a Bitcoin reserve in our country, well, they'll tell you, look at the terms and conditions that we signed. They advised us not to do this, and I think that's popped up in the news before, probably like about a year or 2 years ago, when IMF said that El Salvador should not have a Bitcoin reserve. Like, and they advised them, and they keep advising the country against it till this point. And it took the initiative of one person, the government, who is someone who's like pro Bitcoin, to say no, against all odds, we are
Mm.
going to have this thing. Okay. So what's the concept of like the masses trying to stage a protest, demanding for that accountability and say, okay, we want to have a Bitcoin reserve, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure it's going to fly here, except we have someone in government, maybe the president, that is pro Bitcoin. So if you have that opportunity, that is when it will be easier, to make that a reality. But for now, I don't see that happening at the moment. And it's going to be a very difficult game for the masses.
Okay, but there are two things. One, there is always a place for KOLs, key opinion leaders that could shape the thoughts of the people. So if the thoughts of the people understand that this is a good thing, if we have key opinion leaders that make the people understand that, and first of all, I'm talking about the people because if the president realized that the direction he's headed, if he looks back, there are no people behind him, it means that he ceases to be a leader in a democracy. So if we understand that people know that Bitcoin loans, self-paying loans, if we understand them know that having Bitcoin as a reserve automatically is a scenario where our debt in IMF is self-paying. It's quite funny too. Mr. Abibola. Okay, so look at something I've been doing. I did it very much as well during the 2021 bull market. So this is what happened. I had the money. I wanted selling some thousands of dollars. And I was, instead of me selling, I collected that USD. I bought Ethereum. And I was buying Ethereum at about, although I started buying Ethereum, that bull run at about $65 or thereabout. But when the bull run had already started, I sold that some thousands of dollars for Ethereum, and I was buying Ethereum at about 400 and something dollars. However, Ethereum did a run in about one over $4,000. So when it was time for me to pay, I only collected the little capital at that time that I collected from them, giving me back one Ethereum at over $1,000. Yeah, so that was a self-paying loan with high profit on it. As I talk to you again, I still did the same thing. I needed money to handle some real world, challenges. Instead of me selling that USDT off to for cash, I collected it, bought a particular crypto asset. I mortgaged it. They gave me dollars, and I use said. So when it's time, all I will have to do is go back to that smart contract. Give them the money they gave back to me, and they'll be giving me back my assets with interest that supposedly when I'll be getting that, I should be collecting the capital I gave to them probably with 300 or 400% interest, probability based scenario. And by the way, for those who are listening to me, you have to be smart about this. I'm not saying you should go do that. It's also a strategy. During a downward trend, what you rather do at that point is you are giving USDT and you should be collecting a crypto asset. But when we are headed into an uptrend, That is when you could always, give a volatile crypto asset because you want to take advantage of the upside. But typically, what I'm talking about is coin as a reserve is a self-paying debt. We could use it clear off our debt with the IMF. So is it that our key opinion leaders are not doing a good job at this point?
No,
I
I
think.
wouldn't say that they are not doing a good job at the point. You know, um, it's a very complex scenario. You know, IMM. When you have like variables, you have IMM as part of the variables. You have corruption as part of the variables. You know, as at the time you took the loan, if Ethereum has moved all the way from 86 probably to like $13, what's will have been the implication for you at that point? Probably you are called on margin. Are you getting it? So you lose the
Mm,
collateral, whatever thing you have at that point, you have to lose it. So as much as the government may want to invest and probably put some reserve in cryptocurrency, the problem here is the volatility. How are we sure we're going to have someone that have a deep level knowledge of understanding of the markets to advise the government? Even having someone at the helm of affairs that will advise the government to buy at the right time is also different from executing that advice. It's a different thing. Like President Obasanjo will say that, okay, I appointed you all as my special advisor. It is your duty to advise me. It is my duty to take your advice. I get it. So if a president could
yeah.
say that, you know, it's something that we are conversant with here. So it's a different ball game. Advising the government rightly as an advisor, and also the person in charge of that reserve taking the advice as it should. So imagine the government buying the top, and Bitcoin moving back for like over 60%, over 60%, which is same that in the market. What is going to happen to our Commonwealth? So there are a lot of
Okay,
moving
okay.
parts
I
when it's
think this
come.
is a very interesting question. I think this is a very interesting question, but history is there to answer this question. You hear you know that anybody who have always bought the top of Bitcoin profit right now. There is one particular person who always buy Bitcoin top. Is always Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor does not just buy BTC top. As a matter of fact, he borrows against Bitcoin. Michael Saylor constantly borrows against Bitcoin even at the top. Michael Saylor even go gets draft. He issues new shares and use the money, buys BTC and micro strategy from a company that creates software to also a Bitcoin reserve, a Bitcoin treasury. So even El Salvador was buying BTC talk to you, they are highly very profitable. So history is there to prove that even if Nigeria as a nation in our reserve we keep buying the top, we would have been in profit and we will also be in profit. And we're not even talking about the risky game of borrowing against BTC, which I do. Me, I'm a player. I'm quite a player. But I also believe that as a country, we have the minds. We have great minds to make this possible. And there is a place also we could influence government. You see what Coinbase is doing. The founder of Coinbase, what's the word for this? Lobbying.
Armstrong, not lobbying
There is,
government.
yeah, I'm strong. You see, they are lobbying the government. Although there is a place where you fit come tell me say, make I go, I be Nigerian, make I speak pidgin Joe. I got very solid in speaking pidgin more recently. Very, very well. I dey speak pidgin well. Well. But I'm not sure Abimbola speaks pidgin very well. Me, I'm full
Yeah, I
blooded
do.
Nigerian.
We all do. We all Nigerians. It's in the
So
blood.
I don't see some persons when they fit speak pidgin.
No,
Yes.
you have to deport those ones out of the country.
I was in the immigration office and they were trying to confirm I was a Nigerian. And then I got angry. I said, which kind of question be that? Why you go dey whine me in Nigeria? Look me very well. We have our common struggle and challenges where we dey go through. If I tell you say I from US, you go believe me. As I just dey rant, they just stamp the necessary thing where they need stamp. Meanwhile, they don't keep me long. But once I start to rant, they just stamp.
yeah.
Look me where I've got through the common struggles that make up Nigerians. But what I mean is there may be some concerns that I'll be looking at. I have my personal challenges. Trying to build my companies. I'm still trying to build my investment, my long-term investment portfolio. I don't have enough that it takes to go lobby, start doing lobby. But I believe there is a place for thought leadership. I hope that there is a place where we come together as a group. That's why I know there are some certain groups that exist that this is supposed to be their core. Probably the challenge they are facing is the problem that most persons always face when they come together, which is politicking. But then owe it. We still owe it as a nation. We still owe it as individuals because if we do great, as we are investing, as we are building in this industry, we don't just want to be great men and our country is left behind. What can we do? So I love pushing things like social architects. This is what a one-time speaker of my assembly. This is his view, where problems was the possible solution. Problems was the possible solution. And we
And
do. And after
it's
this question, what's the fundament actually driving BTC form?
so I think you just have to like keep speaking up, like you said, keep speaking up, and if you look at the antecedents with Bitcoin during the NSAS protest, then the government had
Oh yeah,
a smell of what Bitcoin can do, and how powerful it is if you adopt Bitcoin, in Nigeria. So, for government who have had a similar, who have had an experience with Bitcoin, it seems similar to happen in Canada during the truck drivers and protests. The government showed them their account numbers and everything. Then they switched over to Bitcoin for their transactions, and the protest continued. So the government in Canada smelled the cough. Wow. So
yeah,
there's no way we could stop these people despite the fact that we block all their accounts number. So similar to happened in Nigeria during the NSAS protest. So it's not even about the government can have a Bitcoin reserve. Well, I will tell you the fact that the government is still scared of Bitcoin reserve. Because that is like saying yes to what they don't like. That is like giving a thumbs up to what you don't like. Are you getting that? So it's quite dicey. I'm not
yeah.
saying it's not possible. Maybe at the state level, maybe if a state like Lagos State can, maybe we have a pro Bitcoin government in the state, and it decides
Oh,
to like
yeah.
add Bitcoin reserve to the state reserve. At some point, I believe the federal government will think about it because I've seen so many cases where the state adopted something first, and after like a few years, we start seeing the adoption at the federal level. So if you have state like that, maybe like River State, Lagos State, maybe something good can come out of it.
Our politicians are not so smart, or they don't believe that we the people will smart because we have a very large portion of
Gilbert,
over
we have
200
the
million, and about
smartest.
70% of
No, I don't agree with
these
you.
numbers are
We have the
confused.
smartest set of politicians in Nigeria. I can see that anywhere. They are educated. Some of them went to Harvard. Some of them went to
Well,
MIT. They're
I agree.
educated. They're smart. But it's just
And
that they
another
will just
thing, yeah, another thing you need to consider. Another thing you need to consider is the
Okay.
substructure and the superstructure. Am I
you
live?
see when you look at the career profile of most of our
Yeah, yeah, you're
politicians,
alive. You're alive,
it is an insult. You think they're
but
not
we
smart.
can't see you.
They're extremely smart.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think they are the ones who believe we the people are not smart. They believe we are not smart.
And
Maybe the people are not
yeah, yeah.
smart. Let me
Another thing you
tell
need to
you how
consider,
smart our politicians are.
Mr.
Politicians
Gilbert.
are.
Okay.
Whenever politicians, yeah, whenever politicians are with themselves, it does not make these ones had banter. You will see them smiling, hugging up. But after they go on their own, they'll remind you that you, your Igbo, you, your Yoruba, you, your Hausa, you, your Christian, you, your Muslim, and then we stay
That is
divided.
smart move.
So the ruling
That
class
is
don't
smart
care.
move.
You understand? So I think they are smart enough to keep the people under a level of control. But we, the people, are not smart enough to break away. And it's not all of us, some of us are awakened, but we have not awaked as many number of persons as possible so far. Yeah, the crypto, you're about saying something.
Okay, yeah, I was saying another thing you need to consider is actually not about their individual smartness or not, right? You need to consider the
Okay.
substructure, the superstructure of the country, of the economy, right? The substructure,
Okay.
who owns what, who owns who. You understand? It is who owns who. The system is not just running on its own, it's running on a base, right? It's running on a base, and it is some system that owns that substructure. So
Mm.
even if you are smart, if you think you are the smartest person or you are the messiah and you are coming into the system and you are posing a threat to the substructure, right? It's a problem for you. So you have no problem because you are at the top level, not at the base level. You are at the superstructure level. The politicians, even the government, they are at the superstructure level, not the substructure. So if they pose any risk, if the substructure is having problem already, is faulty, right? If those ones that are just coming pose any risk, they'll take them out. So it's most times, or it's sometimes not really about that individual smartness. They know what to do, but they just the power that be, right? They just have to act in certain ways or pay blind. Yeah, those are some of my thoughts on that.
So 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 let's talk a little bit about revolution, because when we look at what we're doing in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry, is quite revolutionary. So there are two revolution. Okay, there's a particular revolution I keep watching, which is the French Revolution. There is a reason why the elites are scared of the people. Oh, good Lord. Whenever French Revolution, it's so funny. It's so funny. And I realize that we don't want a violent revolution in Nigeria. It's not funny. I've always studied, check that history. It's not funny. So the kind of violence revolution that happened in France that led to the French Revolution is why in French, the elite fear the people. However, in the US, although due to social media, but in the US, the people fear the elite and they fear some kind of secret society because of how strong the elites are. But with mobile phones, with this, with people watching less of television and listening to social media, lots of people have come into power, influence, and also money. So the question is, in Nigeria, who are the people who hold the money? Is it probably elite, shitload of wealth, or is the people? Or let's look in between. Are the elites gently taking notice that the people are worth paying attention to? Because if it is, and you agree with me that Bitcoiners and the cryptocurrency players in the United States played a major role in getting Donald Trump re-elected. I believe, oh, you see, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I don't hate his government. I'm not a politician and I don't have interest in politics. And I'm telling you, I will never go into politics. But I don't really see this administration to be as bad as it is, even though I know that he's really out of favor with young persons. But if Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu decide that he's going to create a big reserve or make it as part of his campaign promises, Dr. Crypto, if you are not a supporter of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you will vote for him. Oh. At least let me say there is an 80 to 90% chance you will vote for him. Likewise, Abimbola, likewise me. Me, I will go to the street and campaign for him. I will campaign for Bola Ahmed Tinubu if he tells us this next election is going to create
You
a
know,
Bitcoin reserve.
if
And and that's why I
if he
think.
makes if he makes that kind of promise, then the
Go ahead,
election
go
is going to be
ahead.
as easy. If he makes that kind of promise and he shows enough strength that he can do it and is willing to do it, he's going to
Yeah,
have a massive support, amongst Nigerian youths because you can barely, even the streets. I don't know. I can't speak for every state, but let me speak for Lagos State, for instance.
mm,
You can hardly see a compound or a house in Lagos State where you don't have anyone that owns crypto in the house in Lagos State, whether it is
oh yeah,
Tron or it is Bitcoin or USDT. Yeah. So it's already on the street. So if he can make that kind of promise, he will get the vote. But you ask the question like in Nigeria, who holds the biggest power? Is it the elites or the masses? All right. You say maybe the elite have the
Okay.
power, or those who have the financial war chest, maybe they have a lot of power with them. But the real question is our elite Nigeria, who are they answering to? Okay, so
Okay.
the power that controls our elites at the moment is not from Nigeria. So you have to like understand that. So if the power is not coming from Nigeria, so like just know that the remote control is just elsewhere out of this show. So I wouldn't say more than that, anyways.
I, I, I I love the fact I we discussing our country because look, they say we are the leaders of tomorrow, but leadership is always now. You understand? And the more as players in this industry, we know that we are not just playing individually, but also we have interests of our nation. First of all, it's normal for there to be external influence in our country. It's normal. It's also the same way I don't see any reason why as Nigeria we should not have interest also with respectfully, let me not mention name, other countries that let me use nice word, but we have economic strength. The Lagos as a state is more than the GDP of many countries that are around us. Our population strength,
Absolutely.
just a state, military strength can wipe out so many countries around. So I don't see also a
Absolutely.
reason why, as a country, we should not have our interest in the affairs of other countries. So if we have external interest in Nigeria, that's fine. But I think we're in the best time of the world to renegotiate. Donald Trump is a negotiator. You see, Charlie Kirk, some of the movement he was doing, even that of Patrick Bet David, Candice Owens, it has to do with some kind of external influence as African countries live in Africa should stand up on its own. And this means that we need to go back to the negotiation table. And it's a good thing we think like this, and the more we reawaken persons who could think the same way. Because at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to make a shitload of money out of crypto, and I'm not just talking about some shitload of money for show off and all of that. By the way, I'm not even that kind of guy, but I'm going to make money. I'm going to pass down to generations. I'll pass down to other generations, but also we need to make sure as industry level. You saw the Goldman Sachs prediction that Nigeria is going to be world economy. Is it 2070 something or thereabout? We could become top economy in the world without becoming world leaders if we don't build our institutions right. So for me, there's nothing wrong. We go to the negotiation table with other countries. We go to the negotiation table. You let me know what of history in the world where we go back to the negotiation table because the cameras are on us. We as citizens can speak alongside. And you let me know your thoughts on that. And also, Ebi Solo asked an interesting question. Please, what fundamental events actually drive pump or dump of BTC? However, you want to answer that, you could talk about it technically, fundamental and maybe pricing macro. This should be a free and open mind.
So when Nigeria sneezes, let me say when Nigeria sneezes, other countries in Africa will catch cold. So the world is watching us, like you said. The world is watching us, as you said. The moment that the Federal Republic of Nigeria adopts a Bitcoin reserve,
Mm,
you will have over
yeah,
20 countries in 2 years having a Bitcoin reserve in Africa, right? So if they have a Bitcoin reserve, and when it comes to reserve, I know it's the financial market is about transfer of wealth, all right? So
yeah.
you want Africa to transfer wealth from the rest of the world and move to Africa, isn't it? And make money.
Oh yeah, I do, I do, I do.
So
I so
it's
do.
so because right now El Salvador is transferring wealth from other countries to their country through Bitcoin. I get it. So the moment we adopt that concept, other countries will evolve. We are surrounded with so many francophone countries in Africa, and you and I, you understand the level of control that the masters have over all the francophone neighbor that we have right now. So if you make that move, they may tend to make a similar move also, and that may jeopardize some certain interests in those countries too. So that's just to answer that question. So we can, it can happen. It can happen. We can make moves towards it. We can enlighten people around us. We can like have a campaign, have an hashtag on Twitter, and trend this. Nigeria having a reserve can trend. You know, even though they may not execute it as fast as we may want them to execute it, but at least we are sending a strong message, a strong signal to our leaders and also to other African countries too. So we can do that. We can do it. It is possible. I believe it's doable. I'm not completely writing off the possibility of having a Bitcoin reserve in Nigeria, but I'm just letting everybody know what is at stake and the kind of game we are playing at the moment in the country. So to answer the question of what is driving the Bitcoin, what is driving the Bitcoin is fundamentally at the moment, there are so many reasons. Okay, so we can only talk about a reason at a time. So one of the reasons right now is the fact that there is war. That there is war in Europe, and a major war in Europe for the first time in the last few decades in Europe, you're having a major war, trying to like break out in that region. So we are having an economic war between countries in the world of the world. So all of these things are causing a lot of instability globally, and it is just normal that people look up to an asset where they can keep their money safely, like Bitcoin and gold. So it's just normal. So assets like BTC and gold, they thrive well when there is chaos across the world. So that is the biggest fundamentals that is driving the Bitcoin market at the moment. That is to address Solo's question.
You know what? Good Lord. I took a trade. I took a trade. The trade just took off to where I don't know. Very interesting places. So realize how very interesting the price of market hit uncertainty. So the US government shutting down micro 10 lead to a little bit of a downside sell-off. First of all, I am of this opinion, when of uncertainty, people rush into gold. However, since institutional money started coming in BTC, they always treat BTC as a risk-on asset. So whatever they'll be doing to stock, they're doing to BTC. So I was expecting that with this government shutting down, micro term, it may lead to some kind of a setup. Even though this was contrary to technical, some persons who followed our technical analysis on Monday, we showed that look, hell. And since bottom have held, upside continuation. Are we saying that we may not test back this support again if uncertainty happen? Yes. But it just continued over from there. What changed? What changed in the market? It's an open
Okay.
mic. It's an open mic.
Um. Yes. That was also part of my expectation, right? But as you've rightly said, ever since institutional money is coming in, right? Bitcoin used to be
Yeah.
part of risk asset class, whereby when we have chaos like this in the short term, we will people treat it as a risk off, right? But currently, with this reaction Bitcoin is having to the US shutdown, it's a whole total, a complete different game, right? That Bitcoin is
Hmm.
now becoming, it is now getting a bit detached from risky asset. Right, it
Yeah.
correlates very well with, it moves in correlation with risky asset, right? Before, but with the institutional money coming in, it's now gradually getting, should I use the word detached from this risky asset movement. So, and that is why we've seen it in practical like this. We are seeing it practical. So it's not about predicting now. We are now judging based on the reaction
Mm.
of Bitcoin to the
Yeah,
current market, to the current condition, right? So yeah,
a decorrelation.
it's a growth for Bitcoin.
It's
Yes,
it's a
and
decorrelation,
it's
and
a growth, and
so I was saying
the
typically we
network.
are having a
Sorry,
decorrelation. Okay, what I was saying is we're having a decorrelation happen right in front of us all. The decorrelation is happening. And I asked the question,
exactly,
I think it was on TV.
exactly, and it's happening live.
Oh, yeah. I asked the question why I was saying with time, this decorrelation is going to happen regardless of what's happening with interest rate because the more retail investors are getting informed about the market, so the question will be what interest is Bitcoin with interest rates? There's no interest on BTC. So if there's no interest on BTC, why is it that interest rate affects BTC? But then it's because of what the Rockefeller Trading Institution did. They just treated BTC, as a return risk on asset by dumping some back. This decorrelation, I think, is beginning to show that certainty in the traditional market, people's attention is coming to crypto. It's that simple. Government shutting down means that there is uncertainty in the traditional market. There's also uncertainty in the yield. So what then can we trust? I'm just thinking external out there. What can I trust during this period of uncertainty? There is actually the technology that cannot be shut down. Is the technology that no CEO, is the technology that has no marketing team but has the best marketing team in the world, is the technology that the software is being run by the best engineers in the world. And that brings us to BT. That's why we are seeing this decorrelation happening. And I think this is history. We're watching history. This is a new trend, but let's watch and see if it builds momentum and lead us more into the new narrative, of an overextended bull market. My view, quite and
Yeah, for people who
I don't know. Go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
for people who trade currencies, yeah, for people who trade currencies, right? They will understand this
Mm,
better. Just the
yeah,
way you trade the US dollar against JPY, or Chinese yuan against the other currency. That's exactly what is happening with dollar and BTC. All right, the US
mm,
shutdown reduces the confidence in the dollar. Do you understand? It reduces the confidence in the dollar. It reduces the confidence in the government, which indirectly is the dollar, right? Now, trading dollar against BTC, the dollar weakens while Bitcoin uh, get stronger. Do you understand? Just like people trade
yeah.
currencies against each other. So I think that is exactly what is playing out. So the confidence in the US government, in the policy, and indirectly in the dollar is reducing, while that of Bitcoin is increasing. So the dollar lose value or loses strength, the Bitcoin gain more.
So what's okay? Gina Bimbola, you want to have in that? Maybe afterwards we talk about the role of ETF and its investors, in this form, and then we look at where we are in the market and also do some short-term, mid-term, and maybe some long-term technical projection.
Okay, on that, I think I fully agree with
Meanwhile,
what uh, your crypto said because personally, I just have this bias that the world cannot be fighting against each other economically wise. For the first time in a long while, we are having the coalition between European government policy and US government policy. So we're having a government that is pro American, and doesn't actually care what happens to the rest of the Europe at the moment. So we have a government at the moment that is struggling it out with the Chinese, the powerful economy in Asia at the moment. So it is just normal, and we have the Israel fighting about five countries simultaneously within the same region at the moment. So there are a lot of, in fact, ever since I've been living in this world, I think this is the first time in my lifetime that I'm witnessing so much chaos happening simultaneously in the world at the same time. So in a situation where in a time like this where we're having financial war, we're having a regional war, you know, now small it make it turn intercontinental war at this point. So we don't pray for that. So when we have muscle flexing in Australia, trying to flex muscle against the Chinese government, a lot of military drills happening in the world. So there are a lot of things happening, and nuclear threats from different players across the world. So it is just when I look at this crisis happening globally, I just think it is normal for Bitcoin to decouple from Nasdaq at this point because Bitcoin is no longer it doesn't actually care about what tech stocks does anymore. So whatever happens to S&P 500 or Nasdaq, is none of Bitcoin business at this present moment because it is so decentralized and it is what people are actually banking on at this. Maybe in the future there may be other tech or other assets that may actually represent this, but for now, Bitcoin represent the masses, and it is just number that they are trooping into it and they are actually having fun with it. I think we lost Gilbert. Okay, welcome back.
Okay, he's back. Yeah, that's very interesting. That decoupling exactly is what we need. And if you go back to the foundation of Bitcoin, that is exactly what it is meant to do. You understand? If you go back to the whole foundation, Bitcoin is not meant to be influenced by US policy, it's not meant to be influenced by the movement of dollar, it's not meant to be influenced by the strength or weakness of the dollar. It's meant to uh, be a standalone, decentralized, be a safe haven when it comes to this risk asset class and all that. So it's doing its job, and it may take a while, but we will get to that stage where it will completely decouple from the US dollar. It will it will completely decorrelate. There will not be that because the US government is in chaos, it has to Bitcoin. I'm sure we will get to that stage where it will completely decouple. Oh, Mr. Gilbert, you are back. We can't hear you. Mr. Bimbola, can you hear him?
Yo, no, I can't hear him too. Like,
We can't hear you, Mr. Gilbert.
I think the network is so horrible at the moment. We can only see you. There's no way we can hear you. So probably when you check the microphone and confirm it's working correctly.
Let me do that. Okay, can I be heard now?
Yes, it's better now.
What about now?
Yeah,
Because I can't see myself.
I guess it's a network problem.
I'm actually like I'm deceiving myself.
Yeah, we can see you.
We can see you clearly.
Okay, let's guide. I was what's the rule of ETF? In the next phase of this bull run, we're entering. there is about to be Solana approved ETF. We're about to even have a lot of stable currencies, push into the market. Donald Trump won Liberty Reserve also about the one. So, what's your take on the role of ETF, so stable currency for the next time?
ETF kind of represents a bulk purchase. Just just gather money from investors who are willing to have an exposure in Bitcoin, but they don't want to do that by themselves. They don't want to do that independently. So they give money to give out ETF now. It's okay. Let us send the naira to give out and you go out and buy the Bitcoin on our behalf, keep it on our behalf and secure it on our behalf because we believe you have all the capacity and all the infrastructure to keep it safe for us. So that is another level on its own because the biggest risk of Bitcoin is you have Bitcoin in your wallet and you clicked on a random link on Telegram and the Bitcoin is gone. So we've had cases like that, and this is the core problem here the ETF guys are here to solve at the moment. So people have more trust in the system. Those who have trust in the system but do not know how to get about getting the Bitcoin, they can easily talk to the ITF representative or the company, and they get access, they get an exposure to Bitcoin. And the good thing is we found ourselves in a place whereby some people are also considering having Bitcoin as retirement plan, like a retirement, they have is it 404k or something like that, they call it in some other countries.
Uh,
Like so 401k, yeah. So
mm,
we have some millennials at the moment. We have some statistics that say some millennials and some Gen Z, they are looking at the possibility of adding Bitcoin to their 401k plan. And if that's the case, it is just the
forward.
beginning of an inflow that we are going to be seeing into Bitcoin. So the next decade is going to be very very interesting, for Bitcoin because we are going to see a lot of inflow from these guys, these middlemen, who will collect the money and and send it to the market. So it's a very interesting thing, and I believe that we're going to have very interesting stuff coming up through the year. So on Solana, I don't have
Okay,
any.
let's do.
Let me put it this way: I believe that Solana is a US baby, is a US baby. Because if you look at it, if you look at the coin market now, they check the US, you can see that Solana is one of their favorite at the moment. So when we have the Solana ETF, I'm not expecting a magic. I'm not expecting that maybe once the ETF is approved for that, it will send it to like $1,000 or $2,000 per Solana. It's just a normal event that will happen, and the market will take over from there.
Okay. Yeah. Just to add a little to that, um, let's say ETF, right? ETF is literally bringing
Yeah.
crypto trading to the larger traditional investors and traders, right? There are some people that they only trade stock, bond,
Mm,
option, and all that, right? So
yeah.
ETF, one of the major role is this exposure it gives to the market. This exposure it gives to the market because it makes it tradable to these traditional traders who will not want to have anything to do with crypto because of the volatility and all that. All right. So it gives the market that exposure. That's number one. Another thing is it gives a kind of a stamp of legitimization. So bodies like the Security and Exchange Commission of the US approving ETF, right? It becomes like a stamp that this is legit. Do you understand? So globally, yes, globally ETF approval just is just like a stamp that okay, yes, this is a legit market. This is a legit financial market. All right. And that now brings about a kind of liquidity boost. Understand? Liquidity boost whereby since it is now exposed to the wider um, traders, investors, right? It also opened the door for those investors to be able to invest and trade in crypto on crypto assets without having to directly buy them. So the exposure,
Wider group
the
persons, audience, players.
I can't hear you.
No, I'm with you.
Okay, yes. So yeah, the exposure, the liquidity boost, the stamp of legitimacy, uh, globally, right? So it's a major boost for the market.
I, I think our audience should really know that the beginning of ETF really created a steady inflow of capital into the cryptocurrency market from pension fund, family offices, and even hedge funds. And the more we're gonna have, the more we have other altcoins. And even Doge is to be approved, Solana is about to be approved. The more we begin to see more kinds of ETF on the market, the more we're gonna continually have steady inflow of capital into the market. And we're talking about people who handle big money with like we made mention of hedge funds. We're gonna have family offices, and for with the last executive order, they can also you can also your retirement plan and into BTC. So we are about to have even more steady flow of capital inflow into the market. But then, does it support the thesis of an extended bull market? Does it support our thoughts that Donald Trump really wants to put the market on steroid like he did after COVID-19? He's Jerome Powell to get out to allow him run the market how he wants to. You sent me a meme. The people sent me a meme where Donald Trump put about him firing Jerome Powell. It was funny, but it tells us the kind of control he wants to really have in the market. But,
Yes,
but
and that
then, should
happening,
we do?
I guess someone told me it was Trump Truth Social. I don't have access to Truth Social to confirm that, but someone told me that it was Trump that posted that meme himself, right? And that meme was after the rate cut, right? So that means Donald Trump is saying Powell has not given me what I want. You understand? He has not given me that rate cut that I need. 25 BPS is not enough. Am I saying?
Yeah, see, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. So all these support and extended, like I said, every available data currently supports support an extended bull market, not earlier than Q1, Q2 2026. Okay, this is really moving.
So something happens. There is one thing I love our audience should really learn from. These are all leaders, community leaders. We all share the thesis. We all share the thesis of this is not a beer market. Because the beer market mongers, they were making lots of noise, but we all share the thesis. But what's happening? Bitcoin formed a double bottom. Let me highlight that here for you, and then
Yeah.
you should know what's about to happen. I think we highlighted this for market wash. So this is a double bottom. So double bottom is always it's always a momentum. It builds a momentum for upward continuation. And this was what we highlighted during Monday's market wash, telling you that now the fact that this support has held and we form this double bottom guide continuation. So the question is, how high can BTC move from here? Don't forget, we are still range bound. We are still range bound. But there is something. I always like to always highlight what I always call local support or This place forms for us what is I'm trying to capture the range before somebody will say I did not capture the full area of value, you know. So that's why in most cases you always see me. So I cover different full of thoughts when it comes to technical. So this at this point, okay, let me get something else where most persons can see me better. Okay, so this is what I want to capture. Let me satisfy everybody's school of analysis, except electricians. Electricians are the only persons I don't always try to appeal to. But I have nothing wrong with electrician. So this happens to be our local support. So between wow, look at something. That was why we had a reaction here between this 14 to 19K. But where is the next place we think we are going? We should be touching 2025. This is another reaction point. We have another reaction point here. So BTC is supposed to touch 2020, but this is a reaction point. You could see how this is our past history. This is a reaction point. That is for you guys. So this is another reaction point for BTC. 120K is where BTC is supposed to test. And where is our next test? We are supposed to get to this other level, distance. So this is our next area of reaction. So BTC will have a hell either at this test, I don't know afterwards, but let me show you two possibilities. I am looking for the zigzag so that I'll just pick all of it at once. Now, if I remember where that one day, let me know. My brain don't forget. I always use it very often, though. I'm surprised I have to look for it.
Above text.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
it's not there. Above text. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. The part. So we have
Yeah,
a
the parts.
scenario
Yeah,
of
that's it.
two things happening here. Yeah. So this is a reaction point. This is a reaction point. Uh, I think that we may break out because of the momentum that is happening. So why we have a scenario that this may be our support, this may be our support, probably even a scenario of a little bit of market too, because don't forget the market always needs stronger support. Like if we took off from here, held it, but the fact that we formed the double bottom gave us a higher chance of upside continuation. So we need a held test and not break out from what we know. So we should have a retest. My case scenario, looking into the future from now, will likely retest this level, which for me is likelihood of this. I don't know, but I think right now so far, when we get to 20, when we okay, we're broken 19, when we get to 2025, 20 this level 25, we should retest this level that will lead us into a zone in BTC we have anticipated since first quarter of 2023. Some of you who have followed us and what we do, we have anticipated this since first quarter of 2023, which is our 150K BTC. Will we have an overperformance? Like I've always said, I expect an overperformance in BTC. This go run go 150 for me. Everything I'll have left is my own bag, but I would have majorly taken profits. Why? Because we started entering early. And we have already, during that last webinar that was held last week, where once again we promised you guys, we showed you guys with the data we had available that this was not a bear market. We gave you relevant data. We also gave you, I think, up to 5 or 6 different charts how to invest technically. Investing right now in the market, you're not investing early. Anybody entering the market right now, you're not investing early. And you should be investing at technical levels, having clean technical entries, and also laddering your exit, which means you have levels you will start taking profits. So for me, 140 to 150 is my cut off. Do I think there'll be an overperformance? Like I've always said, yes, it can even take us to 200 possible, but I have stuck to, I have really stuck to this price level that we gave since the first quarter of 2023. And this is not just maybe for those who are just following us here at the Smart Investors Lodge. I remember that was 2023, right? Dr. Crypto held a live stream like this with me, where we also give thesis of market bottoming. And also, if you've been following what we do here at the Smart Investors Lodge, there is nothing that should be happening in the market that should be catching you off guard. I think that when it comes to trend analysis, when it comes to trend prediction, when it comes to anticipation of trend, we are very good in spotting trends very, very early, positioning ourselves alongside with it to take advantage, because the money is always made when you're early to the trend. And then you sell when everybody thinks, oh, they were actually right. You should be the guy selling to them, right? So, Dr. Crypto and engineer, let me know your views. This is quite a chart. This has been one of my most consistent chart I have used just for this circle. If I show you my back history from months ago, you will see from 19 part analysis. If I'm going down, you will keep seeing. You see almost all the price prediction and projection we've done since 2019. So this chart has been quite a roadmap. But if you look at this part, it's the inverted and shoulder pattern that we've used, I think, since this year, where we spotted the inverted head and shoulder pattern. Okay, not okay, yeah, quite this year. Inverted head and shoulder breakout. At this point, it led to an upward continuation. Most persons called year top, but there was a bullish flag from here, upward continuation. There were top last year at this point, beer callers, but then we saw we're just range bound. We're range bound, and so we should test support from resistance. And this is how it's been playing so far. And if you notice, we are just about to test resistance. This is resistance, support, came here, local resistance, support, upward, broke out. Okay, yeah, we broke out of the local resistance and turning it now to local support. And it's my view here, we are headed to a new 120, 125. This was already a key turning resistance level, but this is a key turning resistance level that should lead us into a retest, because we want this to be, personally, I want this to be healthy. The more we have a retest here, the more this is going to lead us to 140, 150. And I hope at this level again, we have another retest, because if we have a middle retest or reaction point or retest at this level, it means that when we get here, we'll have an upward continuation. So, however, this is my view. This is the chart. Feel free to peruse. Feel free to disagree as well. The more we have different view and we arrive at the common ground, the more we know we have a holistic approach to the market.
Okay,
Okay, yeah. On that, okay, sorry. Let me just
yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
yeah, a quick one on that. Your projection to maybe leaving the market at the 145K region. That is actually similar to my projection too, because when you look at the on a higher time frame, right, you'll see that
Mm,
we
mm,
have a trend line. The trend line of the peak of the market, right, it's
yeah.
around
Mm,
that 160K, 160K, 165K. So
mm,
that trend line becomes a major resistance, right? which signifies a
Yeah.
kind of peak following the previous bull market too. So my projection too is around that 150K, that okay, once I get to 150K, I'm going to get off this market and then watch whatever. Yes,
Right.
it's around 160.
I just priced in what
Yeah.
Dr.
So
Peter was saying here. So he's also correct. Let's see.
so once I'm getting closer to that region,
Yes.
of
Yeah, I
course,
captured
I
all the
will
major
start.
areas of value though, right? Mm.
Yeah, you did. You did. So once we get closer to
Mm.
that point, I am leaving the market to watch what will happen. But if we happen to break um, that trend line,
The
it
resistance, yeah.
confirms that
Turn it to
yes,
support.
that resistance,
Mm.
yes, it confirms that the whole market has really reset. When you watch it
Yeah.
from during Bitcoin having ETF approval and the whole thing, you'll see that the market is changing. So what will confirm it completely for me is if at that point we break over that resistance, right? So yeah.
Mm.
So I have a similar sentiment, but maybe a little
Yeah,
bit
Nyabibola,
contradictory to
over
what
to you.
you said. Personally,
Yeah, give it
the
to us.
moment we have a reaction at, can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, all right. So yeah, this is a very good technical levels, a very good technical analysis. And if you look at, thank God you even switched the chart to the weekly time frame because that is what I use majorly as my reference point. So if you look at that on the
Mm.
weekly time frame, we've had looking at the market structure, we've had a higher high, higher lows, and higher high, higher lows again. So the next leg up like this, like once you get to the 125 or probably a breakout of 125, I am leaving the market. So what I'm going to have left is going to have probably a moon bag. Because if you
Okay.
use the 2018, 20, was this 2018, 2018, 17 as reference,
Yes.
if you look at the market structure, look at the chart historically, if you look at the structure of the market during that period, we had a similar completion of the market structure. And after that, we had a couple of attempts, just like we have right on the chart right now, a couple of attempts to take us higher than that, but eventually the market sold from that point. So yeah, everything looks okay, but to me personally, once I have a breakout of 125,000, then I'm just going out of the market and probably leaving the moon back at that point.
Then you are not far from your destiny. You are not far from your from your bus stop.
Okay, so Nyabibola is already.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Let me check my network strengths. Okay.
I can hear you clearly.
I can hear you, engineer. Is the Yeah, I was
Okay.
asking the person to go ahead. Meanwhile, guys, if you have any question, if you have your put it down there on the comment section. Okay, so in the absence of engineer Bimbola, okay, for those of you who have followed me, even though I've always told you guys that I still hold the 140, 150K view for this book, and it has not changed. If it changed, I let you know. Told you that I've still been selling. I've still been selling, and the reason why I'm able to sell is because I have the market on time, and there is no reason for those of you who have followed us, enter the market on time. I remember that 2020, I already uh, checked that the market has no signs of bottoming. I held a private webinar premium and give them reason why the market, but also give some assets we're already accumulating. That we're buying that is a bit get token at about 0.2 cents. This token went at $7. So that's how early to first quarter of 2023. If you check some of our market watch, the title is "We are planting early. We are planting early. We investing." You understand? So as a smart investor, you want to accumulate the same time institutions are accumulating, and ride the wave. Things that, oh, if you want to be going out of the market. If you look at the face of the market, it's time to sell. What we're doing here is technical, less than technical level. And like I always said, I'm paranoia as before. And one thing this have always made me do with my team is they are following macroeconomics like I like on it. They are following major technical level like it's due process. We are that on chain. We are following on chain, trying to find out the amount of BTC on exchanges, the amount of Ethereum on exchanges, so that the market will not have to. I don't know. But if there is one thing I always say, if there is one thing I've always said, when the market would have thought, there is one place that I can tell you the large level of uncertainty you will know is from this place, is from this channel, because we have many persons looking at different indices at the same time. But one thing I've always said is we may not be able to help you get at the top of every ask, but one thing we could let you know is the moment there is general overall weakness in the market. Once there is in the market, you will know it here first. There are many persons who have been calling top since 4K, 60K, 70K, 80K, 100K, 100K, but we have not. So the moment we tell you we've done, many persons don't know about 67K, the last bull market we call top. If you can check, then we were telling people that look, because of rates down here and the pattern BTC was showing, we've stopped playing offensive and we're going defense. The same way when it was bottom, we were sitting beginning of bull market, we were saying the same thing. Once we tell you we're playing defense, this is not finance, this is for information and educational purpose. But I think that there are some persons with track record you should listen to when it's time. Uh, Mr. Bibola, we missed you, but then there's a topic I would like us to have before the day. A time, yeah. Oh, good Lord, 1 after 2 minutes. So please, what are your views on African cryptos this bull run? We had wiki cats that hit over 200 million market cap. That baby BFT that went, it hit about that same market cap, right? We have Quidax.
Yeah, we
Quidax token
yeah we did.
also had a massive run. What are your views?
Yeah, nothing is stopping the African crypto, African tokens or some projects. Nothing should stop them to move because if we have the crowd, we have the strength to support the project from that other continents. Why not support what is ours? So as long as we play it the same way the white guys are
What's
doing
hard?
their thing, as long as we invest into community, as long as we put effort into marketing, I think there's no benchmark to how far the African cryptocurrencies can move.
So you don't share
Okay,
the
yeah.
sentiment. Do not
When
invest in don't invest in Nigerian project.
You say what?
As a just me, does not you share with the view? Don't invest in Nigeria. Don't invest in African project.
No, 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 no. I've never made any
Do you
statement
guys
against Nigeria.
still share the same view?
So I have a couple of Nigerian crypto in my trust wallets since 2021 till now, and I'm here to sell. Like they're still there in my wallet. So I've experienced the good part of an African project, and I've also
Mm.
experienced the other side. So and this is normal. This is normal. This happens everywhere. You know, whether you're buying an Asian project or you're buying an American project, it happens everywhere. So since Solana moved from over 100 to $13, you know, and the world did not end. So if an African project moves from
Okay.
$100 to $13, so what's so what's you would do about it? Nothing. So it's just I deal with African projects. It's just the same way I deal with project elsewhere. So if I believe in what you are building, and I see that the team is doing what they're supposed to do, you know, and they have interest of the community in their mind, and they're putting effort into marketing, you know, why not? So I do invest in African
You,
projects.
you know, yeah, before I used to share that sentiment of um, be careful of African projects, of Nigerian projects before. But currently, when you look at the space, you see that people are really waking up. People are really waking up, and if we do not stand up for the crypto ecosystem in Africa and in Nigeria, who is supposed to stand up for it, who is supposed to make the things we feel are wrong, who is supposed to make them right if we do not stand up for it, right? So you see that a lot of community leaders, a lot of persons, they are already standing up, doing great stuff, building products, not just launching tokens again, and also uh, putting Africa on the map through the valuation of their tokens, right? We have what's it called, WikiCard, we have BBFT and others. So um, my perspective about the African crypto space has really changed. It has really changed.
So you know, it's about time we stopped being the audience in the crypto space. So we need to like get involved as much as we can. The population is
Exactly,
there,
exactly.
and many Africans today, they are not as risk averse as the European guys. So we have nothing to lose. You know, who is on the ground fears no fall. That's a phase where we are right now. So you know, if you build correctly, trust me, African support whatever things that's you're bringing on. So if people could buy into what's this guy's Ponzi scheme, Michael Jackson Ponzi scheme. So what is it not? Is it Africa Great Platform? Thank
AAX.
you very much.
Oh, no, no, no.
So if
Yeah.
people could buy into that, despite not the flags, you know, so if you are building genuinely, definitely, and you meet the right people, the right community, the right support, the project is definitely going to fly.
Yeah, Africans have this energy. They have this energy, this never giving up drive, and all that. They have the drive, so they just need someone who has the vision, a visionary leader, someone who will show them something bigger than themselves, and they will support it. Even if you are the wrong guy, right? As long as you show them something, a vision to fight for, a cause to fight for. That's exactly what Mike
Just
Jessam Abi was that. Yes, that's what he did. Even though he wasn't building correctly, but at least he was selling a vision. He was selling a cause to them, and they gave him all the support. So if those who are building that way can get those support, people who are doing the right thing, if they can share the vision, they will definitely get all the supports they need
definitely.
from the space. All right. I think I'll be calling it a day here. Mr. Gilbert should be back soon, but for me, I should be signing out here.
Okay, it's really been a wonderful time, sharing this stay with you and Gilbert. I think I've learned quite a lot today as well. So thank you for being here and
Um,
have a lovely. I think this Thursday, right? It's not weekend yet. Have a lovely day. So bye.
I
Okay.
thank you. It has been an amazing session with you. A great pleasure to be here as well. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Bye. So, all right, guys, if you are still here watching live, um, we've had it quite an expository. We've shared with you. Okay, give her this back.
Network kicked me. I'm happy to be glad, yo. Where's Dr. Crypto? Have we lost him?
No, he left. I think he has some other things to attend to. That's why he left.
Okay, okay.
Can you hear me?
I was watching you guys. Yeah, I can hear you. I was watching you guys live the other way. So okay, so I was hearing you talk about supporting Nigerians even supported things that were obviously not viable project, and so anybody who is building anything worthwhile, the marketplace is big enough to absorb such person's value. But do you have any final words for our audience before we call it today? And then I have a giveaway
My
for
final word.
anybody who listened to the end of the session.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Hopefully, somebody will be here to claim the giveaway from you today. So, my parting word today to the audience is that knowledge is perpetual. Knowledge is perpetual. So you have to have this open mind. All right. In as much as when you listen to everything, you learn. You still have to decide for yourself what is good and what is right. But even despite that, still have an open mind. As long as you keep learning, you keep growing, and you keep earning from the market. So that's my parting word for the viewers today.
All right. So for those of you who have been following our analysis and update analysis, the thing is there is, literally almost no move the market has made this bull run we haven't called. From calling the bottom, calling the beginning of the bull market, calling, even when we move to 110, calling the drawdown to 100 to 76K. And then we scored for upward continuation to where we are, to also hosting a webinar last week where, I was showing you that the bull market is not over yet, how to invest technically, and also how to take profits. I also showed you an example with certain chart. So far, like I said, I think that I have done my best for investors this bull run. What is left now is, you leaving the market just at the right time. I'm going to spend much of my time moving forward on trading the futures market, and also producing educational content and also streaming like this, so you guys will see more of me, and also much of Bimbola and also Dr. Crypto. And so the giveaway for any person who have watched to this end is, if you check in the description of this video, you're going to see some link. You're going to see a free beginner's guide to cryptocurrency. If you're totally new, take that course. It's totally free. Then join our WhatsApp announcement channel, join our community as well on Telegram. You will also see, our partnership link with XT. We're official partners with XT, here in the country. XT is a very great exchange. They are very liberal in giving you a lot of USDT you could trade with. So register on XT, make a deposit. If you do that, reach out to me on Discord, and I'm going to give you access to our investment recommendation, so you will see what we are investing in for free. Typically, it costs about $60, but you're going to gain access to that for free. So that's my time with you all. Thanks for watching to this show. We're doing this kind of update because we love you and really care about, your journey, and support you with the kind of information, knowledge, insights also that we have. We're gonna see you, in our next video. Thanks, everyone.